So what you just saw right there is an air conditioning compressor clutch engaging and disengaging continually, even though that the switch on the dash is left on. I first noticed this behavior from my clutch when I installed the electrical fan and I wired it in to turn on with the clutch. I first noticed this because I actually noticed the fan blades turning on and off when I was actually inspecting the fan to make sure that it was working. So what I have learned the last 2 weeks is that in North Carolina in August it is hot. I was out at the coast and I was driving on the beach, and actually everything performed fine at the beach. It was on the way home on the interstate where I was driving for several hours and I was in direct sunlight. It just completely baked my truck and the air conditioning was doing absolutely nothing. And I have a feeling that it's tied to the compressor not staying on. It's turning on, turning off, and repeating every 10 to 15 seconds. So if you look at the factory service manual and you look at the schematics, so there's actually 2 safety switches. And one is a pressure switch in the actual refrigerant lines to make sure that the refrigerant is at the proper vapor pressures and liquid refrigerant pressures, so you're not damaging your compressors and you're making sure that the cycle is operating as it should. And the other one is in the evaporator box underneath the glove box on the dash on the passenger side. And this is measuring the temperature, and if it gets too cold to where the coils might freeze up, it's supposed to turn the system off so that it can defrost. And if you do a quick Google search on the Thermo Amplifier control, it is notorious for going bad and causing bad AC. So I ordered my part from Courtesy Nissan. It was less than 20 bucks and it got shipped to my house in a week. So I figure for 20 bucks it's worth swapping it out and seeing if that improves the air conditioning performance. So to get to the evaporator box, you're just going to open your glove box and you've got some Phillips head screws right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. You got 2 on the latch right here. I'm just going to dump my hardware in the cup holders. Cup holders aren't actually good at holding any type of cups, so you might as well use them to hold extra screws. There's the latch, get rid of that. And there's a couple of screws on the bottom side, so I'm just going to reach under here. Super easy. So I'm going to start with the obvious stuff, like, you know, these vertical screws, because I basically want to separate the top half of the box and the bottom half of the box. And I'll see what I need to remove to get there. So I can see that there is a screw right here, and there's one way back here. And these are going to be a pain to get to. So I can snake a screwdriver out to the one on the corner. Got another screw. Oh, here we go. If I get the Phillips in at an angle and just flex the plastic in, I'm getting it started. And then I can finish the screw with my hands. Boom. Looks like there's a screw right here. It's got a Phillips on it, and it looks like maybe a 10 or a 12 millimeter hex. I'll just try the screwdriver first. If I need more torque, I'll go to a wrench. So there is a clip right here, and I'm going to take that off, and ooh, that's bad. You can see that the panel filters, holy crap, I got to get a shop vac in there, man. That is nasty. I need to get these swapped out. These are the cabin microfilters. Oh, that's way back there. Holy crap. So I can barely see this probe where it's jammed way back there in the coil. Got a flashlight wedged in between the box halves. Alright, so I'm taking a long screwdriver and I'm pulling the wire tight, and I'm following the wire up to the probe with a large flat blade screwdriver, and I'm hoping I can catch the wire with the large flat head, and then I can pry it straight out. I can't get enough leverage on it with just my hand. Alright, this hurts like a bitch, but I got my whole hand in there, and I was able to get on the sensor, so I'm just going to... Oh. So I was trying to pry this guy out with a screwdriver, and it was jammed in the coils. It's actually above the midsection here, so it's a little bit higher, and it's in there about like that. I was trying to stick a screwdriver in there and pull it out, and it actually looked like there was a plastic piece, and I actually was able to pry the plastic piece out of the cooling fins with the screwdriver, but then it left the probe actually in there. So I got to go back into the box to find the plastic piece, and you're just going to have to tough it out, because that's really the best way. Just slide your hand in there, try and hold that box apart so it doesn't cut you up too bad, and then just go grab it with your hand. That's a lot better than trying to use, you know, metal skewers and reach back there. Long needle nose pliers, if you have them, would be the best tool, or big screwdrivers. That kind of did it. But I got tired of fooling with it and just went for it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take the harness off. There is a clip on the side of the box. You see it right there? There's a tab, and looks like I can unhook it there. This is the bad one, tossing that aside. Here's the good one, it looks exactly the same. Go. I'm going to slide that back on the clip that is connected to the box. There you go. There's the clip. Put it back into place. And now it's time for this pain in the ass. So it looks like there's a notch here, and it's slightly smaller of an opening on this end. So you don't just clip it in like that. You actually push it forward, then you pull it back, and then just the wire comes out the backside, and then you got to put your hand back in there and find a spot in the cooling fins to just poke it through. Alright, so I'm going to use some electrical tape just to tape this probe into place, and hopefully that'll make it easier to keep the two together so they don't get separated once you get it inside the box. So it looks like the probe can still slide forward, but at least it won't be able to fall out. So I think that this should give me what I need. Ah, there we go. Got it. That hurts, but what's less comfortable? Having your hands nicked up or not having AC in August? So I should have realized this earlier, but if you looked at the plastic clip, it had a flat tab. And that the way that the coils and the cooling fins on that evaporator coil are going, they're zigzagging like this. So if the slots in the coils are horizontal, you want to make sure that the tab on that plastic piece is also going the same direction. I had it rotated 90 degrees the wrong direction, and that's why I could get the temperature probe wedged between the coils, but the plastic clip would not go. I just had to rotate it 90 so it was all lined up, and now it is in the box, and now I just got to put it back together and swap out these cabin filters that were terrible. Perfect. I love resilient plastics. They're flexible, they're durable, I didn't break anything, but you know what, instead of removing all of this dash and all these trim panels, you can just wedge this piece in there with a screwdriver and get to it. You know what, you can spend all day trying to use chopsticks or long needle nose pliers or try and see what's going on there, and it hurt a little bit more, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that I just got my hands dirty, and it was a lot easier to make sure that you had the grip and the dexterity, and you were able to actually feel around and see what the parts are like, because it was difficult to see up there, so you had to do it blind by hand.